Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you two cards using the Coneflower Celebrations Bundle, using the die cuts on one and the actual stamped flowers using colored blends. We're going to be making these two different cards. Oh my gosh, I saw this and then I went by it and I was like, oh, flower, flower, flower. But then I saw a couple cards on Pinterest and saw the big bloom and I thought I have to have it. And I'm telling you what, it is beautiful. So we're going to start out with the first one. I have to say, I love this for the sentiment, happy belated birthday. And this, I love that I've known you for so many birthdays. I'm sorry I missed your special day. Let's extend the celebration. Great stamp set. So I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing using our dies. I'm going to put them off to the side. Now this one here is just using our dies. And this paper was the mixed media florals paper, and it did have these cone flowers in it. So I pulled out crushed curry and early espresso and mossy meadow, the colors that were in the paper. And this paper was the paper that had flowers the whole way around it, and then it was blank in the middle. And you always wonder, what am I going to do with that one? Well, I found out something, because we can use all the pieces on those outer edges of the 12 by 12 to make at least 6 cards. So here we go with this one. Now, whenever I went to make this one, I noticed I used crushed curry on here, which is the color that is in the DSP. However, I was down to a few sheets of it, and I do need it for a project. So I just went and used my Bumblebee, which actually is a little more close in comparison to the yellow that's in that paper. So I just used a mossy meadow card base, and I die cut 2 of these flowers here. 2 of the flowers, and then you have a stem and your leaves. I might just bring this out to show you how these leaves come together here. So we'll put our flower together, and then I will put the rest of the card together. So flip over your leaf, your lacy leaves, and give a little bit of glue on those, and make sure you're getting it on the correct side. That's the one that has, I'm going to get my little tweezies out here, and then we're going to put those onto the solid one. Gives a lot of texture there. There we go, one leaf, and then the other leaf. There we go. And then we have our center of our flower, and then we have the two flowers here. Now what I did here is I wanted to cover up a little of that open space, so I really just pushed my flower so that I kind of had it closing in on the other one. So just put a little bit of glue, and then I just kind of offset it a little bit. So you saw a lot of flower there. And you'll notice then that either one of your edges is going to have a little edge on there. So what I did is I just came back with my paper snips, and on this one, it's on this side. So I just kind of went along the edge of the die cut, and I went a little bit in and just snipped it to the petal. There we go. Okay, just pull that off. Now I have actually just the middle there, and now I can put, and I have to remember, it's kind of crazy. You think you want to do it like this, but it actually goes like this, so that your little, they're like little arches inside that middle of the card, and I mean of the flower, and then just cover up that edge so that you're not seeing any yellow coming. Okay, so that is our flower, and then we're going to put our stem. But this paper, as you can see, this was on the edge of the paper, and then there were 2 of these, and then another edge here. So what I did is I'm going to still use the paper, but I might change up and put, well, actually, I'm still going to do the same thing. So just put some glue on the good side of your stem, okay? And get that glue down. And you know, it's always a good decision to bring out your craft mat, because then you'll get your glue on that and not your desk. Okay, so then I'm going to adhere my stem with glue here, and then I'm going to pop up the actual petals. Okay, so I'm going to put some dimensionals here. And one here. Okay, and take the little tops off the protective top there. And we're gonna strategically place that onto our card. So maybe about like that. And then the flower is going to have a little bit of lift to it. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I wanted this to, I wonder if I can cover that up and put the leaves the whole way down here to cover up. Oh, I made that mistake of because I glued it down already. Well, I wasn't paying attention to my, no, we're just gonna go with it. I don't wanna pull it apart. So what we're gonna do is try to fix this little snafu I made here with the end of this. We'll just make it look like we wanted it to come off the, the bottom, okay? Like the leaves came off that way. All right. Because I went down, I didn't go down far enough with my stem. Okay. Now we're going to be putting it on here, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment here. And it has some great sentiments, but this one I'm just going to put the thank you on here because I have some white space there. I'm just going to get some, here we go. Get some, I could put the thank you here. I could put the thank you up here. I think I'm going to put it right here, but I can't see it through my camera. Because I want it to be straight. This is where you're praying to Stampin' Jesus that it comes out because you're doing it on the DSP. And thank you, Jesus, for caring enough about every little thing I do. Okay, so now, oh, that blue is so pretty on that side. Okay, and now we're just gonna adhere that to our card base, and that card base was a 4 1/4 by 11, and then I scored it at 5 1/2 on the 11-inch side. So there, could put the thank you down here as well. And I thought what was really cute, because this was elevated, is I pulled out some of the bumblebee trinkets. Now these are retired, the retired ones, the bigger ones. So when you mail these, put a little bit of maybe another piece of cardstock on top of over that, so when it goes through the machine it just goes smoothly. So I'm going to get a glue dot out of here. I guess the glue dot got me actually. There we go, got that glue dot on there. Gonna pick it off with my little tweezers and then put that sweet little bee right there on my flower. There we go. And on the inside, I just stamped, "You made my day." Let's get that out here. Nice. Mossy Meadow. Make sure you can see me. Okay. Mossy Meadow, you made my day. And it looks like I had a butterfly that I did not mount there. And I did that. Ooh, that means I probably, I'm actually not going to put that in right now because I did use the bumblebee and I want to use the bumblebee ink. So I'm going to have to grab that. Okay, so I'm gonna put some glue there. Put that on the inside of the card, and that is how easy that card was. I let the DSP do a lot of the work, and then the die cuts, and easy peasy, really cute. This would have been better if I had it off and maybe up here, but here you actually see some more of the flowers there. So there is a fun card you can do using that big 12 by 12 piece in the mixed media florals that I do believe is still current on the online exclusives. So there we go, one card. Now this other one that we're gonna make, it has a die cut flower in it. So of course the leaves are die cut, they're stamped in black and die cut, but there's this fun die cut that actually opens up the flower, okay? So let me show you what I did with that one, okay? And so for the sake of, let's put our bees back so they're not lost, okay? For the sake of time, I did do some coloring already. So I used a pecan pie card base, and then I used the back of the Delightful Floral DSP. That is the one that had the really pretty Delightful Wishes stamp set with it. Just kind of a burlappy looking pattern. You could also use the Woven Textures. It's a very pretty paper that has a lot of those textures in them. So I'm going to show you how we make this card. Now this one, I could have just put this DSP right against the pecan pie, but I find putting a white piece in between them really pops the color of it. So it doesn't get too just boring, and of course, if you were me, you probably would have did your sentiment out of here, and you probably could have even you probably could have stamped your leaves and your sentiment and your stem out of this piece of white because you have enough room there. Actually, I'm curious if that would actually, I'm curious now to see if that would fit. So if you wanted to, you could, on this white, since you're just covering up, yeah, you could do that. You could do, well, I guess it's simple enough. You could just put, you would see that they would all fit on here. I am just all about using up, you know, not wasting our paper. So you literally could use, you could put all of your pieces that you need to cut and die on this white and then cover it up with the DSP. That is what I would do. And I have a little sticky on the back of that. Okay, so yes, I'm going to glue this down. Okay, and just put that on my pecan pie. And once again, that was 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored it at 5 1/2 there, okay? Then I went ahead and colored my flowers. I did a flirty flamingo and a pumpkin pie, and the pumpkin pie is going to, now remember, anytime you color, you can see through. So if you're making a card, just remember you need to have, either need to color it and back it or something, and that's kind of what happens with this one, okay? We're going to stamp our sentiment in black, and that sentiment is right here. It's your day. How many stamp sets do you have that say it's your day? I would say that that's sentiment is in half of our, I know I'm shaking my table. Hope you're not getting dizzy. I should have been doing this. Get a nice black image. Put it's your day in there. But after you do that, you realize that this is being shown. So what I did is I took my die and I said, okay, does this fit? No, it doesn't fit. You see, it doesn't line up this way, but it lines up this way, okay? So that one lines up. So what I did is I took and I die cut this side. No, I didn't. I did this side. Okay, I did this side. I guess they're opposites. So had I done either side, oh, that's why. Okay, what I ended up having to do is I thought I did it right, but I ended up having to use the back side of it. But that was okay because I had a new plate. I just snipped that off because this one folds down. So whichever way, this is actually the back side, but it's not scratched because I had a new plate on. So I was okay to just put that on. So which either side you do, but if you're trying to keep a nice clean edge, you would want to do it the opposite side, okay? And then you'll see it'll match up. And you can cover up your coloring, okay? And then that folds right there, down, okay? And then we're going to angle the pink one this way, but of course it's going to get elevated with our Stampin' Dimensionals. So put a few of those on here. And one more here, okay? But I want to play around with my colored leaves here, okay? So I had them coming off of the actual card, okay? So whoop, don't put your dimensional right in the middle of the flower. Go over a little bit. Oh, got glue on that dimensional, and that's going to be sticking to the carpet in here. My other stamp room in our other house did not have carpeting, and this one does. Okay, so now we've got that glued on the back, and we can take off the backs. And I do believe, yes it is, I did put a little dimensional underneath my stem. And all I did to do that is I just snipped off a little off of my dimensionals here. There we go. And then that gives me a little dimension popping up the stem a little bit. There we go. Sticky, stick, stick, stick. Okay. And that pops up. It's your day. And then I put some leaves. A little glue on my leaves. There we go. And if you wanted to pop the leaves up, you certainly could. I just didn't because I didn't want to. So there we go. And then we can pop up the Celebrating You. It's your day, Celebrating You. Used the little banner that's in our Stylish Shapes dies. Great set of dies. What would we do without those now? Especially since we don't have circles and such. Stylish Shapes all the way. Do not ever get rid of those ones. Because, man, sometimes those Spotlight on Nature ones have a lot of little pokey holes that you have to do. But they are worth it. Okay, then we're going to put the Celebrating You nice and straight across the bottom of the card. And on the inside, okay, here we go. On the inside, I did a flower. And I had this old dark or medium dark Daffodil Delight. And actually, it was just darker than the daffodil. If I would have had mango, and I do, I just couldn't find it. So I just did that. And then I'm going to use my brush end and just go nice soft touches. Okay, and there's only one part that you want to remain white. Right up there, there's actually, I mean, if you colored it in, it wouldn't matter. but it does give a neat effect since coneflowers have that. And then just go down around here. Just get a lot of the flower in that corner because I stamped another one and it just kind of looked weird because I didn't have enough of the flower on the card. So just pay attention to how much you get on there. And I like how the Stampin' blends. No matter what you do, I think they look good. If you try to make it look like you know what you're doing, it works. Maybe just put a little bit of more dark on the lines. But if not, it looks good. And it's not, it's a good streaky. Like not streaky, it just kind of comes together nicely. Okay, and then that was just the inside of the card. And you can see by just that die set, and if you go back on my blog, I did another one where I just stamped it and I put like a script inside. It was my Monday post and just something different to do. Oh, that one's already done. And we'll throw this on the inside. Oh, and we have a stem popping out there. Just get a nice 1/8 inch border around. I always aim my eye down towards the bottom and the left and right side. And this piece is 4 inches wide by 5 1/4. And there. And then I had some of our currant. Oh, look at that. I'm using something current here. Usually I'm using something I can find. And these are the adhesive back texture dots. They're coming with the Gallery Bloom suite. And then I stuck one of the, like a medium size. No, I think they're just 2 sizes. I stuck one over here with one of the little guys. And another little one up here. The rule of 3s. Okay, now put this back where it belongs. Then when you go to find it, I put a piece of just leftover cardstock under there just so it didn't get adhered to that little piece that kept it there in the first place. So there you go. It's your day celebrating you, and I covered that up. Now, if you hadn't colored these, you wouldn't have to, you know, cover that up. But for the most part, I think you will be coloring them. So, oh, look at that. We got this little stem sticking out. So we're just going to come down here, snip it off. It's easier to snip looking at the back than looking at the front. Okay, so we've got 2 cards. This one using this fun die here, and then this one using the die cuts and using that piece of paper. You wonder what to do with it. Use it for the coneflower. If you don't have the coneflower, find another big bloom that you could come popping off of this DSP, because this is really pretty DSP. It even has all those little ladybugs. How adorable. You could actually use this paper and just put like a big ladybug. So there we go. Some pretty flowers using that Coneflower Bundle and Coneflower Celebrations, and it is available right now. So if you want it, you can get it. I think. Wait, maybe it's not. I think one of the pieces is not available right now as of Wednesday when you watch this video, so I'm sorry about that, but it may be back next week, the first week of August. So, but it's definitely, I think, a very good stamp set to have, and you can do a lot of different things with it. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.